10 years of backpacking, and I think I finally found a sleep system that's actually going to work. This is a little bit overkill, but wanted to walk you through what worked, what hasn't worked, and what I've learned along the way. There's multiple pieces to that, but the one thing that I really adamant about dialing in was my sleep system, and here's how it kind of evolved over the last 10 years. Let me be honest with you, I am not a thru hiker. I'm just a regular guy that works a full-time job, and I get limited vacation time, and I'm protected with that vacation time. I don't want to go out on the trail and suffer all day long on the trail and then get to camp and I'm dirty, I'm hurting, I'm tired, and then try to go to sleep and then sit there and toss and turn all night long. You know, all night long is kind of exaggerating a little bit, but you know, you wake up 5-10 times a night. You know, it's not a good night's sleep. I don't want to get back from my vacation thinking that I need a vacation from the vacation I just took. So I wanted to dial in my sleep system. That was really important to me. So here's kind of the evolution that I went through over the last 10 years. First off, I started with this Thermarest, this, what is that, 1-inch pad, and it was horrible, man. I was digging into the ground all night long. I was flat. I just used a sack with clothes in it as a pillow. It was just, everything I read on the internet, it was just wrong. It wasn't good for my sleep system. So I quickly ditched this one. And then I started going to the Big Agnes, and I had the first one. I think it was orange, and it just had the straight baffles without the dimples in it. And that thing was like sleeping on a pool noodle, man. It was weird, or pool floaty. It was weird, and it was really, really loud. So I returned that one. That was a good thing about REI, as they have that awesome return policy. What Big Agnes was touting was that this one was going to be less noisy than the other one. Not only did it feel like sleeping on a pool floaty, but it was so loud. So I moved over to this one. It was more comfortable, but I still wasn't getting good enough sleep, and it's so loud. I backpacked with this one for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So I went quite a long time with this one. Thermarest went with this Neoloft, and it looks like a freaking mattress, right? Look at how thick this thing is. So Backpacking and Blisters podcast actually gave me this to test out for a few trips. And I think if I like it, I think I'm gonna end up going over to it. Let me show you the sleep system that's finally working for me. I ended up going with Nemo Tensor insulated 25-inch pad. I went with the Trekology pillow with the pad strap. The pad strap makes a big deal because the pillow is not sliding all over the place when you're sleeping at night. Then I have an Enlightened Equipment 10-degree quilt. That's 900 fill power, and it gets down to really, really cold temperatures, and I'm still comfortable. I started off on my first trip, we're on a budget, so I bought a synthetic sleeping bag, and that thing was ridiculous. I went out on that first trip, and it didn't compress down very much, so it compressed down to about like this, and I had to strap that onto the outside of my pack. And you want to talk about pack ornaments, man, try walking around with a sleeping bag strapped to the back. I got home and ended up returning that to REI. Thankfully, they have that great return policy. If your gear doesn't work out or you don't like it for some reason, it's just not fitting for you, you can return it, and they'll exchange it for something else that you do want. So then I ended up going with the down sleeping bag from Sierra Designs, and I went out on this trip, and then overnight it got down to like just about freezing. I think it even dipped a little bit below freezing. And with that Sierra Designs bag, man, I froze that morning. It was crazy. It was a bad night of sleep. And so ended up coming back and returning that. I ended up going with the Nemo Disco 15-degree sleeping bag. It was quite a bit more expensive, but it has been the bag that I've held on to the most. And for a couple reasons. Those other bags were like mummy bags, and you can't like toss and turn in those things, and it just felt constrictive. But that Disco bag, it's kind of a spoon shape, so you can move around, you can toss and turn, and there is arguments that it will take longer to keep you warm or to heat up. And then I started doing seeing a lot of reviews on Enlightened Equipment stuff, and this guy had his he had like a 32-degree bag or 32-degree quilt, and he had it down into like the teens, and he said he was perfectly fine with it. I never have trusted it because, I mean, I've just grown up thinking that you have to sleep in a sleeping bag. I went on a trip with Backpacking and Blisters podcast, and we went with Justin Outdoors and Jesse from Backcountry Forward. And it was in July. It was on the part of the GDT up in Canada. And I thought, perfect time. I need to go lighter anyway, so I'm just going to take this quilt. It's in July. It's not going to get down cold at all. Well, on the first night, man, it got down below freezing. It was either right at freezing or right below freezing. And we knew it was going to get cold, so I was scared. I was like, I've never tested this quilt in that kind of weather before. Jesse ended up giving me a hand warmer, and I had a toque on. I had a North Face puffy jacket, so I was pretty concerned that night. I thought I was actually going to freeze to death, to be honest with you. But ended up being fine. It wasn't like super comfortable being that cold, but it turned out to be okay. You know, I just used the pad straps correctly, had everything all zipped up, didn't have any drafts or anything like that. So that really gave me the confidence just to use this quilt. I just did the Trans-Catalina Trail with it, maybe into the low 60s, so it was pretty warm. And even with this 10-degree quilt, the good thing about the quilt is you can throw it off of you, or you can stick a leg out. What I started doing was, when I was in the backcountry and I was realizing that I wasn't getting good sleep, I was paying attention to what it was that was causing me to wake up in the middle of the night. And obviously, for like 350 nights a year, I'm sleeping on a Tempur-Pedic mattress. I've got 2 pillows. When I'm out on the trail, I was finding that my shoulder was falling asleep on me because I wasn't getting up high enough off of the pad. What I did was I found this Trekology, which came with the pad strap, which is a game changer in itself because the pillow doesn't move around at night when I'm sleeping. And then for Christmas, I got this Outdoor Vitals pillow also. It's also got the concave shape, so it fits into your shoulder when you're sleeping. So I thought, why not double them up? So I ended up doubling them up on the Trans-Catalina Trail, and I didn't have any shoulder problems at all. So from now on, it's 2 pillows. I might even take a piece of tenacious tape and some shock cord and just make my own pad strap on here, so this one doesn't move around at all either. So it's locked in there when I'm sleeping. And then I know I'm going to try the Thermarest Neoloft here for a couple nights. So I might end up upgrading to that thing. It is a little bit heavier, but honestly, just the 0.8 or whatever it is, 0.8 pounds, whatever it is, it's not going to be that much for me. I've been happy with this Nemo Tensor insulated pad, 25 inches. I don't feel like I'm going to roll off the pad. I feel like I have enough support. And what I do is I fill it up all the way, and then I lay down on it on my side, and I just reach over, and it's got that little push release valve, and I just let off enough air until everything on me feels comfortable, and yet I'm still not bottoming out in the pad. So for right now, this is the best that I've come up with for a sleep system, and I'm super happy with it. I actually get good night's sleep now. I'm interested to hear what you have found that gets you a good night's sleep out on the trail. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.